We're live.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hello, hi everyone. Hi.
It's Thursday. It's definitely Thursday since we're back
It is
here.
Thursday. We're a couple of minutes late because apparently some of us might be having some internet issues. So we're not sure. We think we're okay now, but we apologize in advance, right? In case it freezes halfway.
Yeah, it's like it's quite odd. Like a lot of us are having internet issues today. At what we're not in the office right now. We're working, at our own homes. So let us know whether you are encountering the same internet problems. And so have you, is your mobile data slow? Is your Wi-Fi slow at home? We want to know whether is it just are we so unlucky here, right? Or is it like a nationwide thing, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's pop-up career Q&A. For those of you who don't know, this is where we answer your career-related questions live. It streams on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So you just ask your question in the comments. We'll pick it up and we'll answer it live.
Yes. So I see a couple of people joining us already. Hello, hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Say hi to us in the
comments. Say hi in the comments so we can see you too.
And let us know if you came from Instagram.
Yes. If you came from our
just
Instagram
also
live
streaming
earlier.
on Instagram now. That's cool.
No, we went live just now earlier. On Instagram.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
To just kind of catch up with people.
Nice. So if you're joining us from Instagram, hello.
Yeah, hello. Let us know whether you can hear us clearly or not. Hi, Martin. Thanks for saying hi to us. So before we start, right, before we start, I just want to point out, as usual, career opportunities available. So this week we have Qube Apps here, who is hiring for 4 roles here, as you can see on the screen: IT Support Internship, Senior HR Executive, Assistant Finance Manager, and also Sales Manager. Now, Qube Apps is a software solutions company with a specialized R&D center, and I tell you, go and check out their videos at wobjobs.com/QubeApps. Their company profile, you get to see how is that working at Qube Apps, and I really like the office environment and what the people are like in the company, right? So check them out, and if the job is something that you want to apply for, definitely go for it, right? So before we start, we want to understand something from all of you, and I hope all of you can answer, right? Has the pandemic changed what you look for in a company? If you are looking for a job, has your kind of like your taste in what you look for in a company changed? Or even if not, right? Let's say you are still currently working now. Do you think what happened after this pandemic, has kind of make you prioritize different things already in what you look for in a company, right? When you're looking for a job. So let us know in the comments, right? So let's move on to the first question then, while we wait for some responses, some interesting responses that will come our way, I'm sure, soon, right? So the first question is, I only have the basics, is it enough? The full question is actually, as for internships, especially for IT students who is interested in web development, let's say if the student has basics only, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but doesn't have strong experiences in other other things like Python and Rails, where it's required in a job application, is it possible to get accepted and get an opportunity to learn from the company? It's quite technical, the question, right? But basically, if you only have half the requirements of what the company actually listed in a job description, is it still possible to get accepted and get an opportunity to learn from the company to develop the skills that they require?
Well, from a software development standpoint, I think what I first say is, of course, if you've actually done coding with the exact language before and you have evidence that you've done it before, would be an advantage. This would be an obvious answer. But however, when it comes to coding, right, actually, if you're a good coder or programmer, you can actually adapt to different languages fairly quickly, because I suppose the foundations or the fundamentals of coding are more or less the same, right? It's like, you can speak English or you can speak Malay, Mandarin, it's still a different kind of language, but the foundations are the same, maybe the syntax is different and all that. So very good programmers can actually adapt. And I think if you're coming in as a fresh graduate, a lot of companies, would anyway assume that you don't have a lot of experience. But I also want to say, it's typically for certain jobs like programming, or like if it's a creative job, you don't actually need to get a job to show you have the experience. I suggest very strongly, like on the side, if you think, let's say Python is the role that you want to do, but you don't actually have the experience, just go pick up Python, right? Learn it online and actually try to code using it, build a prototype of something so that you can put it on your CV and you can show this prototype to the employer that, hey, I'm still early, but I can, as you can see, I understand it enough to get to this, and I really love coding. So actually, you can actually prove it rather than just during the interview, just say, hey, hire me and train me and I will become very good, prove it, right? So programming is one of those disciplines where you can do the work before you're actually hired to do the work.
True, I agree. It basically shows that you take initiative. You don't have to wait until you are asked to do something to do it, right? Yeah, so you should always do it on the side. Take courses. Obviously, there are some courses where it needs to be paid. There are also some free courses online as well. So you just have to look.
Yeah. So I think that's all our thoughts for this, right?
Yeah, pretty much covers it all.
Yeah. So let's take a pause on the questions that we got anonymously and not anonymously, sorry, from our previous sessions, and let's look into the ones that are asked of us live right now. So yes, we are taking questions live today. So if you have any questions wherever you're watching, just drop us a comment, and we'll be able to pick it up and answer it right here, right now. Okay. So the next question by Shai is, hello, good to see all of you here. I would like to ask about the current foreign employment scope. What is your take on it?
I assume your question is about if you're not Malaysian looking for a job in Malaysia. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. But if that's what you mean, then I would actually say that I think in Malaysia, typically, if you're in technical roles that are in shortage, I do believe that companies do hire foreign talent. But if you're in less technical roles, that might be a bit more of a challenge, where the supply of locals is much higher, and in the current climate, economic climate, if you like, where unemployment is very high, that means a lot of even local Malaysians don't have a job. It may be an added challenge, admittedly, right? If you need a visa or permit, right? Because most companies also might be a bit more reluctant to go through that process if they can look for a similarly skilled person locally.
Right. He actually updated his question for better clarity. Yeah, he just let us know. Thank you so much for updating it. So it's same question. Better asked, actually, asked in a better way, actually. I would like to ask about the current foreign employment job scope for fresh graduates or for people who are graduating this year, and what are the upcoming possibilities?
Yep, same answer.
Yeah, I think
harder if you're a fresh graduate, actually. Harder if you're a fresh graduate because you don't have a lot of work experience. I think foreign talent typically, when they do get hired, they come with skills and experience typically. I say typically, right, in general. So if you're a fresh graduate, it's a bit harder. But again, there are some technical jobs where it's possible, right? So if you're a software developer, as an example, I know many talented software developers in Malaysia are not Malaysian, right? And they're working here, legally with a visa and everything. So it's possible, right? If it's technical jobs.
Yeah, I think the most important thing that you have to do is that you need to show to employers that you are an exceptional talent, especially as a fresh graduate, that they, to justify why they need to hire you. It's the same as any job seeking experience, but because of how competitive it is right now, it's just that the bar is higher. So you really need to stand out in terms of your skills.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm so sorry if I seem a bit slow today, everyone who's watching. I'm having like really terrible internet issue, but the show must still go on, right? Yeah, the show must still go on.
Brian is saying
yeah.
his internet is slow. He's not slow. Okay.
Yes, my internet.
Please be more forgiving.
Yes.
Right. So yes, I hope that answers your question. If not, let us know whether your follow-up question for us. So before we move on to the next one, this is a question that we ask generally to everybody who's watching us today. Has the pandemic changed what you look for in the company? Right. Let us know in the comments. Has it shifted your priorities in what you look for when you're looking for a job, or when you're wanting to join a new company? Let us know. Right. So moving on to the next question. My job is now not in the same scope as my qualifications. Is it possible to search for a job in my scope, IT, which I have little experience in?
I think this is very similar to our very first question from last week. So as Derek mentioned, yes, you may have little experience or basics, but you don't need work experience to learn certain languages in IT. For example, you can take courses on the sites and online courses as well. So that shows initiative to the employer. And although you don't have work experience for that, at least you have like certs to justify that you actually learned the languages and all that. So yeah, that would probably give you a higher chance of landing the job, although it's not the same scope as your qualification.
Yeah, and honestly, a benefit that you are in a IT role or like a creative role is that you can actually create the product that an employer wants. Like you have to think about it from an employer's point of view. They are hiring you to develop a website or an app. So wouldn't it be good for you to be able to show a website or an app for them, and you'll really show your capabilities and what you can bring forward as an employee? Yeah, so try to do it on the side. Have a good project.
Yeah.
Right. That's all our thoughts, right? Yeah. So here's the next one. I'm a diploma holder, hotel management, and I have 10 years of working experience in hotel, bar, restaurants, and cafe. Is there any jobs for me? I can learn and a hard worker. I'm currently okay with any job. We can. You're in luck because we are WOBB, so there are tons of jobs on our portal that you can search for. But let's answer it this way, right? Or rather, let's take a question this way. Does someone in kind of like the F&B, I guess, right? Like the hospitality, with hospitality experience, what can they actually translate to do right now in this current moment?
I think maybe operations, because when you are part of a hotel or F&B business, there's a lot of things going on. Like instead of just like talking to people, hospitality, there's a lot of things that go on to run a business properly. You can probably try to translate that experience and try to help a company in that sense. Or because you have the people skills to deal with people, perhaps you can try some roles in sales as well. It'll allow you to continue to still interact with people, just in a slightly different way.
Yeah, sales and customer service, like I imagine, right? So I think what you have to probably do is like really think about, don't think about the industry you're in, and just concentrate on the actual skills that you think you could actually transfer to a different industry. So I think, sales, customer service, because you deal with people. For sales, I would specifically to be more specific for sales, maybe not the hunting type of sales. Hunting meaning that someone's like always cold calling people, because as far as I understand, if you're in hospitality, you don't necessarily hunt, right? There's a lot of inbound traffic. So if you do sales, you could look for more of an inbound sort of sales role where, a certain company gets high volume of calls, and you help, pick up those calls and service them and convert it to sales. There are roles like this, or even customer service, because I think if you're hospitality, you actually train very well to give people a good experience. You know, whether they're happy or unhappy, it is a strength, right? So which you can bring to roles such as customer service. So when you write your CV, Nathan, is it? Hope I pronounced your name correctly. When you write your CV, try to de-emphasize on the fact that you were from the hospitality industry, and emphasize more on the skills that you believe are transferable, if you know what I mean. Because you don't want someone to look at your CV and immediately dismiss this as, oh, that's someone that works in a hotel, right? When you're applying to a company that is not in that line of business. So just something to think about. And I think that would, it does not guarantee that you get tons and tons of interviews, but it will get more companies willing to interview you. So you have more opportunities to try to convince them that you can adapt to a different industry. Yeah, but before you are invited to an interview, I would suggest that you think clearly. Think clearly exactly how to answer this question. What skill can you bring to my industry that would be an advantage? Think it through first. Don't go there, get asked the question, and then fumble and figure it out for the first time. Think very clearly. What would be a good answer to this question? And I think that will hopefully get you a higher chance of landing a job.
I think just building on what Derek mentioned, if you're rethinking your career path right now, which means that you kind of have to start from scratch again, but with the experience that you have now, over the 10 years of experience, you may still find difficult to land a full-time job in a different industry. So always, if you find that difficult, it is no harm for you to try internships first, because right now companies are a bit more careful in terms of hiring. So they will probably prefer to hire interns first, and when the business picks up, then if they are open to hiring full-timers again, you would probably be first in line. So internships are always up for consideration in this case. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're just building on Eleanor's answer a little bit. I know internships don't pay well and you need money and all that, which is totally understandable. But I would contrast it with not doing anything at all. You see what I mean? If you're not doing anything at all, you're paid zero anyway. So you might as well pick up an internship and hopefully add some value and then land you a job faster.
Right. So yes, to all of you who are watching, if you have any other thoughts or any other type of roles that you think is a good way for for Nathan here. Again, I'm also hoping I'm not butchering your name here. If there's anything suitable for him to transition, or if you personally experienced this before, let us know. We'd love to hear what other roles is suitable, right? So let's move on to the next question. May I ask, what's the starting salary for a business analyst or a digital marketer?
This is a tough one. I don't know, as I can't give you a specific answer because companies pay so differently. I can say that fresh graduates typically get paid anything between, say, 2,500 to 3,000-ish, if you're talking about starting salary. And this spans across most roles. I know some companies pay a bit less, some companies might pay a bit more, but this is roughly the range right now. So yeah, that's I suppose my take on this.
Yeah, it's definitely sometimes starting salary. It could be are you a junior position? Is it a senior position? Different states might pay. Have different salaries. So there's a lot of factors you consider. But I'm pretty sure that there are some salary reports that you can find that can help you to get a better understanding. But ultimately, it also depends on the company, and it varies pretty much company to company, right? So yes, thank you for that question. That's all of our thoughts here. So the next question is, Jackson, who is having some difficulties finding Penang jobs on WOBB. What are our thoughts on this?
We actually have, it so happens in Q1 right now, we actually have a little campaign in Penang going to grow our presence there. But there's one in particular employer that uses, that's been hiring using us quite effectively. You can check it out. It's called Clarivate. So I even moderated like a talk with them, I think not too long ago, a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And it was very popular. It did really well. And, a lot of people were very interested in the company. It's a global company, but their head office in Southeast Asia, I believe, is based in Penang. So it's very interesting that you get into like data science and all that, right? Is it there? Sorry, not data science. They're into patents and all that.
Yeah.
Right? So intellectual property. So do check it out. But admittedly, Jackson, we are stronger in Klang Valley at present, so KL and Selangor. But over time, you see us more across Malaysia, especially this year.
Yeah. I just had a look at Clarivate's company profile. You can check it out at wobjobs.com/Clarivate. Perhaps we can put that in the comments for Jackson here to visit. They currently have 27 positions open right now, and the live session that Derek was talking about, there's also the whole recorded thing is also available on the same company page, so you can check that out, right? From what we heard, great company. Definitely do look at the jobs that they have on open right now, right? So next question then. What should I expect if I am a Malaysian residing in North America, I assume, and would like to return? Thank you. I am in marketing.
Is that North America? I'm not very familiar with this abbreviation. What should I expect if I'm Malaysian residing in, I assume it's North America, and would like to return? I am in marketing. What should I expect? Perhaps, Mac, you could clarify your question a little bit, if you like, in terms of in what areas, are you asking in terms of how easy is it to find a job, or was it like working in Malaysia, or I don't know, expectations on salary? If you can, what would be a broad-based sort of answer to Mac's question? What should I expect if I'm Malaysian? I would like to.
Yeah, I think we would need to know more about what do you actually want to ask. It's a very broad question. Marketing, right? Also very broad. What forms of marketing are you looking into? Perhaps we'll revisit this when Mac here has give us some clarity.
I want to make a small comment just to say that if you are, assuming, you've had work experience abroad and you want to come back to Malaysia, I think that's obviously very welcome, right? And there are a lot of employers that would also look at your CV and they might be interested in you more in the sense of they probably want to see whether there anything unique that you can bring to the table or not, right? And this is especially true if you've actually worked abroad, right? Because work experience abroad is, I suppose, a little bit less common. It doesn't mean you definitely get hired, for one, right? It just means companies might be interested enough to see whether you can bring something unique to the table. It also doesn't mean that you get paid higher, right, compared to a Malaysian applying for the same job. It would just mean that assuming you interview well, you convince them that you have advantages for this role. It just means that you have an advantage in landing the job. So it doesn't necessarily mean you get paid more. So you might get picked over someone else, but more or less, I think that would be the case, yeah.
Right. So we'll wait for if there's any follow-up questions from you, and we'll love to answer it in greater detail. Okay, so the next question while we wait for that is it possible for mass comm graduate to change career to a totally different line?
Define totally different.
I think you can.
Slightly different or totally different?
Yeah.
I assume you just graduated, right? So when you just graduated, I suppose it's still pretty blank canvas.
Yes.
I
I mean,
think
if you want to change to a career that's totally different in terms of like it's more technical, for example, from mass communication to like IT, you definitely have to have something to back it up. Like, do you take any courses for you to be able to apply for the job or like do the job well? Or I mean, in other case, if you want to change to marketing, I would think it's okay. It's just that there are probably things that you can learn from, let's say, an internship, and kind of start the ball rolling there. Yeah, Kenny, you were saying?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think as a fresh graduate, you're like Derek mentioned, you're a blank canvas. If you really want to consider changing careers, try using internships first. That's how I changed my career. So do that to sort of learn the skills and really understand what you want. And another thing to do is on your CV, if you sort of know which direction you want to go, because since you mentioned a totally different line, you sort of know which industry you want to go into, it's best that you also state that in your CV so people don't think that you're just randomly applying. And as best as you can, show the transferable skills from your education or your experiences to the new field. It's very important at this point to show your relevancy to people. There's a lot of competition in the job market right now. So you need to show that you're the best candidate in terms of relevancy and expertise. But of course, as a fresh graduate, employers don't really expect you to have like 5-10 years of experience, which is ridiculous. So just try your best to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I can think of like, what do you call it? What do you call it? Other degrees, all right, what other fields of studies, yes, that is way more difficult to switch than mass comm. I've actually a lot of my friends that I previously know from mass comm, they're doing so many other things now. They might be in creative teams now, they might be in design now. Some of them are in like film productions companies, but it's mostly like somewhere along the lines of like marketing, creative. It's like if you're talking about mostly transferables lah, right? So definitely, like what everybody say here, internship can really go a long way, help you deciding. You don't have to be afraid to explore, right? You're not actually committing to a full-time job, right? You're kind of like testing the waters here and there to see whether you actually like what you're doing. For usually about like 3 months, the duration of 3 months, right? So definitely go for that, right? So the next question we have is by Fast Roll. I have a question here. For a company that struggles to pay EPF and stock performance, what are your thoughts? Should I join them?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, think long term.
It has to be a very strong reason that they give you,
I mean, like the signs are not good, right?
Yeah, that's a very big red flag.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, so as a startup, for example, right? So what we ourselves are a startup, and inherently a startup, because it's a new business, it's an entrepreneurial business, there are risks involved. So no company is 100% stable. Even corporate companies lose talent. Like the corporate company will stay there, but people might lose jobs, if that makes sense. Like there's no 100% security in anything. But I imagine most people would have like some kind of baseline kind of security, right? Like, if a company is already not paying things that are, I imagine this is, you have to pay it. It's something like that. And it's a bit red flag. Unless you're saying that there's something that this company is doing that you're really drawn to, some mission that they're doing, and maybe it could be some kind of short-term financial blip, and you think that you want to help them recover, then I think that's okay by all means. If you have this really inspiring mission or company that you want to be a part of, and you understand that it's painful, that's okay lah. In general though, I'm not speaking in most companies, it would be a red flag. Yeah.
Yeah, like there has to be a really strong reason for you to join. Like it could just be like
And
yeah,
I
go
also
ahead.
want to sort of preface this with, now we are actually going through some really challenging times, right? So some companies might have some short-term financial issues. So I think I want to approach this from a more understanding point of view. So again, if you think it's not a long-term thing, there's nothing really wrong with this company, it's short-term, then I think it's okay lah. But in general,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It could like what Derek said, it could be just so sad that they fell on hard times right now, but previously good track record and everything, right? You really want to consider joining them, you I guess maybe that's why you're even giving this a second thought. Maybe you want to ask like what is the company actually working towards, like it's recovery plans basically, right? You really want to see whether like how the company is planning to pull itself out of the situation right now, because if they're not doing anything about it also, right? And they're very good previously, but they're not really doing much. You don't really see much of a future in this company. It's unfortunately it's a bad deal, right? But if they are actively working towards improving the situation, then and they have a good plan to do so, yeah, I mean that's something that you have to keep in mind also, that perhaps will help with your decision, right?
Yep.
Any other thoughts on this?
No.
I just a little bit. It's just like at the end of the day, if they are honest with you and you fully understand what you're getting yourself into, and you understand the risk and you're fine with the risk personally to you, then I think it's fine to join them. But you will have to fully make that decision on your own, because it depends on your own situation. You have to really understand what you're getting yourself into. Yeah.
Right. So, that's all the time that we have actually. So thank you so much, Arian, for asking your questions. We know that there are still some questions that we haven't answered. Mac, we still haven't got the follow-up question from you. So hopefully we can hear from you soon, right? I'll let you know how you can get the questions that weren't answered here answered in greater detail, right? Also see you, Wenjun Lau. So before Kenny introduces how they can get their questions answered, I want to point out that Qube Apps is actually hiring right now. So they have a really good company profile. I've personally watched their videos and I really like the working environment there. So if any of these roles really suit you, head on over to WOBB.com/Qube Apps. That's basically everything that you need to know about the company all in one page, and you can apply there as well. If it's suitable for you, right? So Kenny, where can the questions that weren't answered by us, where can the people will ask them? Ask it again.
Cool. So for Wenjun and Mac, if you like to ask your questions, you can head over to Offwork. That's Offwork with an E. It's a Facebook group that we created specifically to have a community of people to help answer each other's career questions or just like professional issues in general. So you can head over to Offwork. Just search wobbjobs.com/OFFWERK. Okay, and you can ask your questions there. Our team will actually be there, and you can also get opinions and comments from other experts in the field as well. So yeah, we'll hopefully see you over there. Right, and
okay, that's all the time we have. So thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you same time next week.
Yes, next Thursday.
All right, thank you everyone.
See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.